There's a part of minimalism that nobody really talks about, and it's the part that can feel a little confusing because you declutter your space, you simplify your life, and yet your mind doesn't feel as calm as you expected. The overthinking is still there, certain emotions don't just disappear, the quiet restlessness still finds its way back. And that's the part no one really prepares you for, because minimalism doesn't actually fix your life. What it really does is remove the distractions that were covering up what needed your attention in the first place. I started my minimalism journey thinking the same thing, that minimalism would fix my life, but it didn't. It actually showed me things I couldn't ignore anymore. Not all at once, but little by little. And these are the things I started noticing. Before minimalism, clutter felt like the obvious reason for everything. If I felt overwhelmed, it was because my space was messy. If I felt unmotivated, it was because things weren't organized. If I felt stuck, it had to be something external. Clutter was visible, and because it was visible, it felt fixable. There was comfort in that. Because cleaning, organizing, resetting your space, it gives you a sense of control. You can point at the problem, you can do something about it, and you can see the progress. But minimalism slowly took that illusion away. Because once the space was clean, once everything had its place, I realized something a little uncomfortable. The heaviness I was feeling didn't come from my surroundings, it was coming from somewhere deeper, from my thoughts, my habits, my emotional patterns. And that realization, it's not as satisfying as cleaning a room, because you can't just organize your thoughts in one afternoon. You can't declutter your emotions into neat little boxes. But at the same time, there was something quietly honest about it, because it meant the real work, the meaningful work, was finally visible. Before I simplified my space and my lifestyle, there was always something to reach for, something to fill the gaps. Scrolling, shopping, watching something in the background, opening an app without even thinking about it. It didn't feel like distraction at the time. It just felt normal, like small habits that helped me pass the time, or little reward after a long day. But minimalism has this quiet way of removing the excess. And when the excess fades, you start noticing what's left behind. I began to notice how often I reached for my phone, not because I needed to, but because I didn't want to sit in the silence. How often I felt the urge to buy something, not because I needed it, but because I wanted a quick shift in how I felt. A small mood boost, a temporary sense of progress, a distraction from whatever was sitting underneath. Minimalism didn't take those impulses away, it just made them more visible. And visibility can feel uncomfortable because you cannot unsee it. But it's also where awareness begins, and awareness slowly changes things. When life is constantly filled with noise, it's surprisingly easy to stay just busy enough to avoid certain thoughts. You move from one thing to another, you fill your day, you keep going, and before you know it, there's no real space to sit with yourself. But minimalism creates space, not in just your room, but in your time. And quiet has a very different kind of presence. It doesn't distract you, it doesn't entertain you, it simply holds you there. And in that quiet, certain thoughts start to rise. Thoughts you didn't realize you were avoiding. Old doubts, unresolved feelings, questions about your directions, your habits, and your choices. At first, it can feel a little heavy because there's nothing to cover it up anymore. But over time, that quiet becomes something else. Not something to escape from, but something to understand. Because when you stop running from your thoughts, you slowly learn how to sit with them. And when you can sit with them, they lose some of their weight. Before simplifying my life, my emotions were always blending into everything else. A busy day could hide a low mood. Constant activity could mask burnout. Distractions could soften anxiety. Everything overlapped. But when life becomes simpler, patterns start to stand out. You begin to notice how your energy shifts, how certain days feel heavier than others, how your mood changes depending on how you spend your time. You start recognizing the cycles, not as something random, but as something that repeats. And there's something grounding about that, because instead of feeling like your emotions are unpredictable, you start seeing their rhythm. You begin to understand yourself a little better, and that understanding doesn't make everything perfect, but it makes things feel less chaotic. One of the most beautiful parts of minimalism isn't what you remove, it's what remains. Because when you take away the excess, what's left becomes clearer. The habits that genuinely make you feel grounded, the people who bring a sense of calm into your life, and the routines that feel quiet but meaningful. I started noticing that the things I thought I needed weren't the things that actually stayed. What stayed were the simple things: slow mornings, familiar routines, moments that didn't look impressive but felt real. And there's something comforting about that, because it shifts your focus from constantly adding more to appreciating what's already here. At the beginning, I thought minimalism would save me, make life easier, calmer, more controlled. And in some ways, it did make life simpler. But what it really did was introduce me to myself. Not the version I was trying to become, but the version that was already there, underneath all the noise. A version that didn't need to perform as much or didn't need to prove as much. A version that slowly realized something surprisingly freeing. People are not watching me as closely as I thought they were. That pressure to always be improving, always doing more, always becoming something else, it softened. And in its place, there was a little more acceptance, a little more ease, not perfection, but honesty. So, if you're in that stage of minimalism where things feel a little strange, where your space is calmer, but your mind is still figuring things out, you're not doing minimalism wrong. You might actually be experiencing the deeper part of it, the part people don't always talk about. Because now, you're not numbing things, you're not constantly avoiding things, you're seeing more clearly. And clarity, even when it's uncomfortable, is where real change begins. Minimalism won't fix your life, but it will help you understand it. And somehow, that'll turn out to be even more valuable. If any part of this video felt familiar, I'd love to hear about your experience. What's something minimalism helped you see about yourself that you weren't expecting? And if this video gave you a moment to slow down or see things a little more clearly, you can support this channel by subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.